Hi everybody, Saturday, April 6th, 2019. Beautiful day. It's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Just going through, checking. We've had some really weird weather this year. Last weekend, we had the highs was only like 35 degrees last Sunday. Now we're 75 degrees. Just how it is in the Midwest. They say if you don't like the weather in the Midwest, stick around, it'll change. Anyway, we've got dandelions blooming. We've got buds on the pear trees. And we're going and doing our first inspections on some of these hives. Now this particular hive is the third year queen that was featured in my Moving Bees in a Car video. So if I can figure out, I'll put a link up here or over here. I probably won't be able to figure it out, but it's in my videos. Moving Bees in Cars. Anyway, we're gonna pop this open, have a little look. So this is a third year queen. It started out as a nuke that came from Barnyard Bees. Last year they did great. Now I like to give them just a little puff of smoke. Do it in the top. I've seen people, say, well, come on in and they'll smoke the entrance. Well, when you smoke the entrance, what happens? All the bees run up to the top, so when you open the top, you're greeted by all the bees. And that's some old-timer beekeepers, guys that have been doing it for probably 50 years. Make sure we don't have a queen up on the top, nice and gentle. Now we're doing a couple things here. One is I'm going to go ahead and shake this off, knock them down, because we're going to get rid of our notched cover. This was our vent for the winter. We don't want that notch. I don't want the notch because later in the year we have robbing issues. So we're just going to take it off now. The beetle traps that were in here from last year, I'm going to go ahead and pull all those out. And I'll be following through on the next inspection, and I'll put brand new ones in. Some of these, they've got them propolised across the top, and they've been sitting in here all winter. So we'll just put fresh ones in here. There's one old dead beetle. So far in my inspections, I have not seen one single hive beetle. But that doesn't mean they're not in here. They could be. So we got to be real proactive and make sure they don't get a chance to get going. Pop this box off. They had it glued all winter. Now I'm just putting it right there like that. Have a little look. Got a bunch of drone brood. I would have liked to have got in here sooner, but the weather just has not cooperated. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pop this one out. Unfortunately, all you can do with this is smoke it down and scrape it off. You have to. This box hasn't been opened since last October, right around Halloween. They were storing some pollen in here. I will go back and collect that. This time of year, it's not too big of a deal to leave wax laying around. But when you get into the summertime, when you get into the dearth, it can be a real issue. So there again, it's a real shame. Most of these are just drone brood anyway, and there will be some left over, so it won't be an issue. Since they're building up a bunch of drone, we're going to be really looking to make sure that they've got room to lay. We're going to be looking for any queen cells, because if they've got queen cells, then we need to be really proactive and watch for swarming. Now that we've got that cleared off, I'm going to go ahead and pop this off. Still got a little bit of weight to it. Now, an interesting note, a good strong hive, there's a little bit of debris here from the winter time that we're going to go ahead and help them out and scrape that off. So I'll give them a little smoke to clear them out of there. In general, they've kept this hive pretty clean. There is one hive beetle there. Now this is a good strong hive, but that tells me I better be really careful and get out here and get traps on here. I need to be inspecting these about every maybe no more than 10 days or so at this point, because we're getting ready to come on to our major, with the dandelion, our nectar bloom here in the Midwest starts with the dandelions and ends with the catalpa trees. So we got that cleaned off for them. Now we're having a look here. Typically, if they're going to swarm, their queen cells will be hanging down off the bottom. Not always. But as a quick inspection, I'm looking and I don't see any there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this back up on here. Look at all them bees that were standing there waiting. I'm trying not to smash any with that entrance reducer. I will leave the entrance reducer on. I leave it on all year. Some people say open it wide open. It's just a personal preference. Now as I look down in here, I do see a little bit of drone brood at the top here, but I can pretty much see there. And drone brood's okay. Just don't want too much of it. But there's bees all the way across there. Now I need to go through and I'm going to smoke these, and I need to clean this up. Last year I had to put a third box for this queen to lay. She laid up so much. She needed 3 brood boxes that she was laying in all 3. That one's, I can tell, and I can tell by looking in here, there's brood in this one as well. There's a couple of empty frames. They've still got some room. But for management purposes, we have to keep these clean. So I've gone through and cleaned that up. That'll help facilitate inspections later on or throughout the entire year. From here on out, I'll be checking these girls all as we go through the next month or two during our major nectar flow. I'll be checking them about every week, 10 days or so. And then once we get into the dearth of the summer, later in June, July, every couple weeks. So let's go ahead and put this box back on. We'll pull a frame or two out. I don't see any queen cells or any queen cups, but the drone brood can be an indication. I see empty frames. There's 2 blank drawn foundation. I see a few empty spots here. This frame here has, I don't see any cap brood, so they've got some room there. I'm going to go ahead, what I'm going to do for these is I'm going to add 2 honey super boxes. We'll add 2 honey supers with drawn comb, so they'll have room. If the queen comes up and starts laying in there, so be it. That'll be her room. The other option would be, you know, they've got it so full, but it's full of bees. It's not a matter of being honey bound. Give myself a little room to work here. For being the first week of April, these girls are doing pretty good. Especially for being a 3rd-year queen. I know a lot of guys will tell you, you know, some of the commercial guys, they'll requeen every single year. I'm not sure that that's quite necessary. So there's one of them. They've got a little bit of comb started. They've got room to move. Similar situation on this frame. See, they're continuing to draw wax out over here, filling that frame in. This one's all honey. Now here we've got a bunch of brood. If you can see, capped brood, larva. And it's down at the bottom. We've got a little bit of pollen and a little bit of brood over here. And some of this was regular brood. The drone brood has the bellied out spot. This here is level and even with the rest of the comb. Remember, the bees will move out of your way. If they're in your way, you can just, you don't just kind of push them out of the way gently, and as long as you don't pinch them, they don't feel threatened if they're good, gentle bees. Got a lot of bees going to be coming out of here. Notice the circle. In the bottom box it matches. They've got This nest, the brood nest, is a circular shape, and she's got it in both the top and the bottom box. But there again, they have room to move. They have room to continue This is one I'll definitely have to keep a really, really close eye on. See that? There's more brood. She's just got this thing laid up. I know it's in the bottom box as well. I can see it, but I don't feel the need to go in there right now. This frame was a little bit spaced out. They had propolis between the two, so I'm knocking that down to make sure I can push it up against all the way. Help hold them frames tight, keep that bee space proper. Brood on that side, brood on that side, a bunch of bee bread, pollen. I haven't actually seen the queen. She's probably down there in that bottom box. But she's got a yellow dot on her. That was either put on by Jimmy or David, one of the two. Fantastic queen. So let's go ahead and put this back together. What I do is I go, I'm moving a couple frames, and if there's a bee on that little spot, just wiggle it back and forth a couple times, and they'll move. See there, I pinched one. My fault. Totally my fault. It was up underneath there. That's how I get stung. But bee stings are good for you. Helps with arthritis. I got arthritis in my back. All kinds of other issues with that. So I think the bee stings are good for it. So at this point, what we're going to do is go ahead. They've still got room to continue over. They're laying good. Good population of bees, and all of those capped ones in the next week or so, they'll be coming out, and they'll be wax builders. They can come up and work on these supers and continue getting them ready. We're going to have all of our nectar sources are all coming on right now. And there again, I don't use queen excluders because I just don't feel the need for them. If the queen wants to come up and lay in there, there's a good reason for it, and I'll just work around it. So we'll go ahead and give these girls 2 boxes. Now I'm going into my summer configuration. My summer configuration is I don't feed in them. They say if you put plain water in here, if you fill this with water, that a hive can make and keep it full of just plain water, because the bees don't have to travel back and forth to get water, that they can make an extra 2 or 3 gallons of honey per hive on a strong hive by feeding them water. I may try that this year. That's Don, the fat bee man. He's extremely knowledgeable as well. Then I put this vent on and the top lid. We'll come back and check it out in about 2 weeks. Thanks for watching, everybody.